Hello and welcome to this Kapp motion picture event. Your bank's dirty secrets exposed. As advertised in our recent preview, Kapp is looking at which banks are the most evil in the world. Originally, this documentary was to be focused on my hometown of Ottawa, Illinois, as somewhat of a case study, but I've decided to expand the scope to the national level for reasons I want to discuss with you now. Aside from the usual nickel and diming, I was given a runaround in response to a debit card fraud case, and then told that I would not be allowed to have a debit card anymore going forward. I really didn't want to cause any hassles for any non-management bank employees in my hometown anyway, but I had 3 conversations, let's say with 3 wise men. One was an email format, so make sure you get the computer. Notice the computer on this animation here. And it was from the president of the bank, who basically said, our policies are standard operating procedures. You'll find that all the other banks around are the same. I mean, if that's not a slap in the face to a fraud victim from their local bank, I don't know what is. And while you might not like the answer from the president of the bank, I tell you what, it's true, because I also went to get some work done on the vehicle, or my wife did, and the car guy said that it happened to him. Same thing, they wouldn't give him a debit card after he was a fraud victim at another Ottawa bank. So the president of my ex-bank was right. Well, the president of the bank was correct. I shouldn't say anything about this practice is right. And honestly, after talking over the holidays with somebody else that had run-ins with the same bank as I did, I just didn't want to risk coming across like I was fighting my battles for this person, or being a little bit George Bushy, if you catch my drift. So let's address this as the national issue that it is, not just an Ottawanian issue. I mean, maybe our existing regulations aren't strong enough. Maybe the police of the banks, the regulators, should step up for the consumers and not let victims of crimes be treated by their banks as if they're the perpetrators of said crimes. As fans of the channel already know, I've already made a couple videos about the fact that I myself am a reformed banker, in the interests of full disclosure. After I quit banking cold turkey, roughly 10-12 years ago, as a profession at least, started to read up a little on the matter, and it turns out that the first banks were blacksmiths, where the people that were working would come store their money in the blacksmith's safe, and eventually the blacksmiths figured out, well, not everybody's going to come get all their money at once. I can loan out, $10, 10 gold coins for every one that I take in, or whatever. So that's how it was born, and I think we should remember that. If everybody does come to get all their money at the same time, it's called a run on banks, or a bank run, and we've learned to deal with it somewhat. But you could also say that the global financial crisis of 2007 was a different variation of bank run as well. Although my business school teachers forbid me from using it as a source, I read the Creature from Jekyll Island, which goes into great depth about central banking and the U.S. Federal Reserve, and the title of that is so ominous, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Its abilities are scary, and it benefits the bankers and not the consumers. It basically allows them to print money out of debt. And it's not like nobody saw the creature from Jekyll Island coming to get us. I mean, let's take a look at how the founding fathers felt about us having a central banking system. Thomas Jefferson himself thought that banks would deprive people of their property and have their children wake up homeless on the continent they started. And maybe you're saying banks are a necessary evil, aren't they? Or what am I supposed to do, Kapp? It's 2020. I'm not going to be able to buy a car with cash, especially not my first one, much less a house. Well, in a nutshell, you could try joining a credit union. I'm not saying that you shouldn't shop your home loan around. If it's, a couple $100,000, a quarter point makes a difference. But I looked locally, and not only did credit unions pay more on deposits, but they also had lower rates on installment loans, and it also seems their customer service is quite a bit better, and they treat you better in cases of fraud. And for example, anybody in my hometown or county can join the credit union I joined, so it's not even hard to get into these things. Why pay that executive level of management of a bank? That money comes from you. Choose not to pay it. Go to a credit union instead of a bank. I mean, with the time you save, you could watch all the Kapp Tech videos available alphabetically listed on Kapp Tech on Facebook. Or decide that you wanted to get out of your banking job or move up within the bank and get a $99 digital business card from Kapp Tech or a $149 digital resume. Reach out at kapptechstudios@gmail.com. I mean, let's take a brief look at the fee income. The trend in this data shows that the smaller your institution, the less of a slice of pie they're taking from fee income as related to their overall income. So by following that logic, most credit unions are smaller yet. And they're service orientated. You don't need a big bank or a bank at all if you can help it. Some of these deposit accounts pay 1% interest annually. Think about the fact that you would only have to get hit with one bank fee to where you just let that bank use your money for free for the whole year. I mean, in a lot of cases, we, the workers, are paying the banks, after you incorporate all these fees with the interest, to hold on to our money. Not the other way around, as it should be. Anyway, as if looking at your amortization schedules and bank statements and comparing fee income that you're paying to interest income that you're getting doesn't make you angry enough, I'm going to close this video with a quote from Robert Hemphill, who was the credit manager of the Federal Reserve Bank out of Atlanta. In the foreword to a book by Irving Fisher entitled 100% Money, Hemphill said this: "If all bank loans were paid, no one could have a bank deposit, and there would not be a dollar of coin or currency in circulation. This is a staggering thought. We are completely dependent on commercial banks. Someone has to borrow every dollar that we have in circulation, cash or credit. If the banks create, for example, synthetic money, we are prosperous. If not, we starve." Let that soak in. Thanks for watching Kapp Tech.
Thanks for watching Kapp Tech.
The end.
And
Thank you, Austin.
ruff ruff. I'm still ruffing. Please subscribe.
Perfect.